D7. And an A sharp. To an F. To a C.
Happy Independence Day. Hope everyone is doing well on this beautiful day. Can always say that it's a beautiful day in my consciousness, as Dr. Reverend Paul Hasselbeck reminds us. So I invite you to, let's just get centered and settled.
Oh, it's just G, C, D, and E minor.
And we're going to mute Brian so he doesn't interrupt our opening prayer. So just taking a deep breath with me together. Exhaling. We're just going to release any sense of littleness, any sense of stress that we may have brought with us this morning, any thoughts of what to do after service, being present in this moment right here, right now, remembering that this moment is what we have. It's the only thing. And in this moment, I am reminded that I am free. I am free in my divinity. I am free to believe, and I am free to change my beliefs. I'm free to choose love. I'm free to accept joy, happiness, generosity, harmony as my core values and my attributes, remembering that it is a true sense of my divinity, goodness, love, kindness. I'm free to know and understand within my freedom that I accept responsibility for my life, for my actions, and my experiences. I am free. Let's just take that in for a moment. I am free. Now we will turn it over to Keith in the shed and the power of love.
Blessed are you when you don't have much to say. And blessed are you when you feel like you've lost your way. And blessed are you when you're misunderstood and good is all that you're thinking of. Well, blessed are you when you live in the power of love. For you are the salt of the earth, and the time it is now.
You are the salt
try that verse again. For you are the salt of the earth, the time is now.
You are the salt of the
For you got things to do with your life, you don't know how. Let your light will shine from a hill when you connect it to the light from above. You can do it all when you live in the power of love. Yes, you can do it all when you live in the power of love. Well, blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth.
They shall inherit the earth.
And blessed are the pure at heart, for they shall see God. And blessed are the ones who sacrifice, and blessed are the ones who serve. And blessed are you when you live in the power of love. Blessed are you when you live in the power of love. Well, consider those birds in the air. Now see how they fly.
See how they fly.
Consider those lilies in the field. They don't even try. In the middle of the riddle of good and bad, just give your heart to the dove. Like a bird or a flower, you can live in the power of love. Well, blessed are you when you live in the power of love. Yes, you can have it all when you live in the power of love. Like a bird or a flower, you can live in the power of. Blessed are you when you live in the power of. You can have it all when you live in the power of. Blessed are you when you live in the power. Like a bird or a flower, you can live in the power of. Blessed are you when you live in the power of love.
I love it. Thank you, Keith and Sherry and Brian. And now we go back to Brian, Sherry, and Keith with For Yourself and Me.
Yeah, a little shout out to Meg Rain this week, and basically everyone's on vacation this week that would normally be with us. So thanks for joining us, and we hope we'll try to keep you entertained with our doggies and our music. And sing nice and loud. Sing louder.
Okay.
Right. Still getting used to going back to Zoom after being live again. So here we go. Pour yourself in me. Pour yourself into my heart. Oh, wonderful Spirit. Pour yourself in me. Pour yourself into my heart. Oh, wonderful Spirit. Pour your joy in me. Pour your joy into my heart. Oh, wonderful Spirit. Shine your light in me. Shine your light into my heart. Oh, wonderful Spirit. Sing. Sing your joy in me. Sing your joy into my heart. Oh, yourself in me. Pour yourself into my heart. Oh, wonderful Spirit. Pour yourself in me. Pour yourself into my heart. Oh, wonderful Spirit.
And I love the choir in the back here.
The choir, four-legged, the four-legged
Looks
choir
like
Yes.
in the
Looks like
background.
he's enjoying it immensely. Or maybe it's the belly rub, I don't know.
No, that's not a belly rub. She's strumming.
keeping the beat. All right. So now let's join us for Surely the Presence.
Uh-oh. Surely you jest.
We're doing it
Call
in
me
C.
Shirley.
I hope we're doing it in C.
Yes.
Shirley? Shirley the presence? Oh, Shirley.
Hang on, I've misplaced my music. This is a perfect Zoom moment.
Daisy's a really good singer. She's saving her voice, though. Right, Daisy?
Got a solo coming up.
You know what? I should know it by heart, so I'm just going to play it by heart. There we go. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. I can feel God's mighty power and God's grace. There's a holy hush around us. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. I can feel God's mighty power and God's grace. There's a holy hush around us. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place.
Yes, surely the presence is in this place because you are all here. And if you are having questions about that presence, I'm going to remind you of Proverbs 2:3-5. If you indeed cry out for insight and raise your voice for understanding, if you seek it like silver and search for it as for hidden treasure, then you will understand. Have reverence for the Lord and find the knowledge of God. Again, Proverbs 2:3-5. Find the knowledge of God. Charles Fillmore, the co-founder of Unity, when he would go into meditation, he would call it going to headquarters. And possibly out of the headquarters, he came up with one of the findings of the 12 powers. And he wrote the 12 powers of man and published it in 1930. And he describes and explains that within each person, that we have inherent faculties, 12 faculties or 12 abilities or 12 powers. And with each of these powers, he associated a color and a representative of a disciple, one of the 12 disciples that closely relates to this power. So if you're not familiar with the 12 powers, I'll run through them for you. Faith, which is expectancy, believe with conviction. Strength, resilience, endurance, perseverance. Love, the power to harmonize, unify, unconditionally attract. Imagination, which we learned last month with the Reverend Dr. Paul Hasselbeck. Imagination, power to visualize, envision, conceptualize. Power, the power to claim mastery, command authority of thoughts, feelings, and beliefs. Wisdom, power to practically apply what is known, intuitively discern. Will, the power to choose, direct, determine. Order, the power to organize, align, sequence, adjust, arrange. Release, the power to discard, let go of, remove, eliminate. Zeal, the power to be enthusiastic and passionate, motivate, excite, and inspire. Life, the power to maintain vitality, sustain energy, make whole, enliven, quicken. And last but not least is understanding, which is our talk for today. The power of understanding, the power to comprehend and interpret knowledge, make cognitive connections. So the color associated with understanding is gold. And the location of the body that is associated with understanding is the forebrain. The disciple, not by any coincidence, is Thomas, as in doubting Thomas. So Thomas, who loved Jesus, was mourning his death and doubted the reports from his fellow disciples that Jesus had come to them after the crucifixion. To which he replied, "Unless I see the mark of the nails in his hand and put my finger in his side and my hand in his side, I will not believe." That's John 20:25. And then later, Jesus appeared in a vision where Thomas became convinced that his teacher had indeed showed himself after the crucifixion. In Linda Martella Whitsett's book, Divine Audacity, she reminds us that Charles Fillmore chose or intuited Thomas as a disciple that is in alignment with understanding. Thomas stands for our doubts about the invisible truths in life. That Jesus represents our divine identity. Thomas stands for our doubts, and Jesus, metaphysically, represents our divine identity. Our inner doubting Thomas seeks to understand our eternal divine nature. And in the book, Power Up Your Life by Reverends Bill and Cher Holton and Dr. Reverend Paul Hasselbeck, they talk about the difference in understanding between ordinary consciousness and elevated consciousness. Ordinary consciousness and elevated consciousness. So from ordinary consciousness, understand is the ability to comprehend and interpret knowledge and make cognitive connections based on our senses, thoughts, feelings, and beliefs. Make cognitive connections based on our senses, thoughts, feelings, and beliefs. We use understanding to comprehend and interpret the facts and figures, whether we're talking about building bridges or atomic bombs. From an elevated consciousness, understand is the ability to comprehend, interpret knowledge, and make cognitive connections based on ideas, truths, principles, and laws that are divine in nature. make cognitive connections based on ideas, truths, principles, laws that are divine in nature. And that people have different levels of understanding based on their experiences, knowledge, learning, biases, intellectual capacity, and perceptual filters. So what does this mean? So growing up, I tried to practice being a good Catholic boy. I was unknowingly seeking a spiritual presence in my life. I said unknowingly. So I did all the good things Catholic boys do. I went to church. I went to a parochial school. I was an altar boy. And then after 7 years, my mother pulled us out of that school because of a bullying incident with one of my siblings that the nuns decided not to do anything about. And after a year of public school, I wanted to go back to a parochial school. And so I did, with the understanding that I was going to pay 50% of my tuition and I had to find my own ride to the new high school, which was 6 miles away. And I did. I did that. But the religion and the Bible studies really did not do anything for my spiritual upliftment. I was still that rebel teenager and found many new experiences that weren't in alignment with that teaching. But that anthropomorphic God that I understood, that was benevolent, but yet punishing. If you didn't do this or you did do this, you were going to go to hell. So a few years after I graduated, my mother became ill, and the doctors had given her 6 months to live. She was at the young age of 52. And being good Catholic children, we joined religiously to say the rosary and pray, supplication, asking God, don't let her die. I tried subjugation, that I will be good, I will devote myself, I'll do anything, please don't let her die. 6 months later, I denounced God. My mother passed away. And I fell away. I would call myself an agnostic, which my brother would remind me that that was like a safety valve. Like, just in case I needed God, I could always come back, which was true. I saw truth in that. 30 years later, I found myself embarking on a new venture in life and searching for newer spiritual understanding. And when I found unity and started attending the courses, the first one that I attended was heart-centered metaphysics. And in that first class, Reverend Shipley was talking about absolute truth and relative truth, and there seemed to be other classmates that seemed to grasp what this was about, but I didn't. And it was frustrating. And I remember driving home that night after the first class, supplicating again. I said, just give me that burning bush, talking to God. I said, Jesus, just sit right here and tell me it's real. Tell me, I need enlightenment now. I need this revelation now. I need to know now. But that didn't happen. And so it took many classes, and becoming a prayer chaplain, I started to evolve a newer understanding. As we pray with others as prayer chaplains, we are affirming the truth of their divinity with them. And in so doing, affirming divine nature for someone else, I have to claim that for myself. And it's a process. And what I learned was that once we embark on living a purposeful life in spiritual awareness, and we start living from that God self, we're intending to live from that God self and that our divine nature, that many opportunities present themselves to help us come to that awareness. So my thoughts, my emotions, my feelings, my perceptions, my desires would arise that didn't seem in alignment with that. But I learned that they're here for me to understand what they are here for. That to see that this is not true. That I can choose to believe this, or I can choose to believe in my divine nature. I am free for that. And that in so choosing my divine nature, I can only see it that way. I can't believe in both. I can't believe that I'm not good enough, or that I'm not good, or that I'm in lack, or that I am not capable, or I'm not enough. If I believe in my divine nature, that is all power, that is infinite possibilities, that is all good, that is love, that is joy, that is abundance, that is generosity, that is kindness. And sometimes it's hard. Sometimes those embedded beliefs are so embedded that they just want to continue to remind me of these insufficiencies, if you will. And one of the books by Dr. Bruce Lipton, his book Biology of Belief, and later he talks about it again in his further books and studies and writings, that we now know from scientific study that 95% of our lives are controlled by our subconscious. 95% of our lives are controlled by our subconscious mind, which means that 5% of the time we are acting and living consciously. Our conscious mind is in control. And you can maybe grasp this if you ever think of driving to work or driving home, you know, that the same route that you've taken over and over again. And maybe a song's playing on the radio or a podcast is playing. And then sooner or later, you'll notice that you're home and never remember driving because your subconscious mind is just on autopilot. And how did we get here? And we got here because in these studies, they learned that as a child, when you're born, up into the age of 6 and maybe even 7, that we are living in a transient state, that our mind is not fully developed, that we are still learning and living by what is being programmed by our parents or our guardians or our influences that are directly in our lives in that time. The transient state is a hypnotic state. It automatically goes to our subconscious. We just take it in, absorb it and absorb it and absorb it. And then when we start to become conscious of our choices and our decisions, these tendencies, these subconscious programs just automatically take over 95% of the time. So once we start to understand this, and we learn that, no, it's not our parents' fault. It's not their parents' fault or their parents' parents' fault, as they've all been programmed and pre-programmed in the same way. And they're only teaching what they learned. And so we also know that to be subconscious, that subconscious means to be unconscious, because we're not aware of this happening. We're not aware of these things until they present themselves. We're not aware of the thoughts and beliefs until they present themselves, like I am not worthy, I'm not enough, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart. And now, not to dwell on the why we are like this, but to see the blessing that I don't have to live this way. I'm free to choose. I don't have to believe this about myself. It's no one's fault, but it's a blessing. And now that I know this and understand why I think this way, why I act this way, and what I can do about it. In my talk last month, I talked about the work of Dr. Robert Assagioli and the act of will, and how that corresponds with the power of will. And in the 12 powers teachings, we learn that the power of will and the power of understanding go hand in hand. The power of will is also in the forebrain. So once we understand about our beliefs and how they transpire and how they run our lives as we let them, then we use will to change and to act and to move into a different direction. We may take workshops, attend a spiritual retreat, or start going to Unity or other spiritual communities that help us to align to a higher order, a deeper knowing, deeper truth, to help us live more authentically, and a more authentic and purposeful life, a life that's aligned with benevolence and kindness and joy and happiness, gratitude. And not only about ourselves, but also with all people in life. And along the way, we will notice, as we understand a newer, higher order, that some of these old beliefs and thoughts about ourselves continue to bubble up and present themselves as inauspicious to our new understanding of awareness at the time we are most vulnerable. It's times like these that can be our greatest teachers. And when I overdraft my checking account and I don't see another paycheck for another week, or when I missed the cue or was totally unaware at the moment someone paid me a compliment because I was focusing on the committee in my brain, you know, that old embedded belief of what I tell myself. You're not that, you're a dummy. You can't hold a candle to them. You're in no way in their league. They're just being nice. These are in fact auspicious moments when we can see them. Understanding is associated with the frontal lobe. The frontal lobes are important for managing higher level executive functions, cognition, comprehension, realization, and insight. It's our processing part of our brain. We have to take that moment to notice the thought and decide Understand why it's there, that it's here for me. It's a blessing. So we can see the thought of lack and sufficiency as the old belief and use it as the mechanism, the tool, the opportunity to realign ourselves and realign with our new and higher understanding of divine law and divine nature, which includes, but not limited to, sufficiency, abundance, goodness, light, love, joy, happiness, generosity, kindness. And each time and each opportunity can continue to be a stepping stone to a higher awareness, a deeper understanding and a deeper truth about ourselves, about others. Because if it is true for me, it's true for you. And if it's true for you, it's true for me. When we continue to do this, we start the reprogramming and we align ourselves with our divine nature, the soft, calm, peace-filled, harmonious nature that already is and always will be divine. Charles Fillmore, in The Revealing Word, a book on metaphysical definitions, tells us we can come to an understanding in two ways. One is by following the guidance of spirit that dwells within, and the other is to go blindly ahead and learn from our hard experiences. Which one would you rather try? I think we've maybe tried them both. I know I have. So ask and it will be given you. Search and you will find. Knock and the door will be open for you. For everyone who asks receives, and everyone who searches finds, and for everyone who knocks, the door will be open. That's Matthew 7:7-8. I'm going to leave you with a quote from Linda Martella Whitsett in her book, Divine Audacity. To live in divine audacity is to claim our divinity and to live from that place. So in her book, she describes divine audacity as bold spiritual living, living under the radical premise that I am divine. I am able to boldly express the highest spiritual principles in the middle of everyday situations. I am courageously responsive. I am fearlessly self-reflective and self-corrective. I am intentional in large and small claims. I valiantly champion the goodness within myself and within each person I encounter. I hold myself accountable for thoughts, words, and actions that are in integrity with my divine identity. I suspend belief in the limitations that seem inherent in human existence to stretch beyond my known capacity. I lift up rather than tear down. I believe in the inherent goodness of all people. I believe in you. Namaste. Please prepare ourselves for our meditation as we could have a little noodling too.
Well, hang on. We have a song that we'll go into meditation with. This is I was trying to find something that piggybacked right off of your talk today, and this is really about listening to that inner voice of getting rid of the committee and looking for the true divine voice in there. now. Here now. It's not like it was before. The past was but be here now. And it's not what it was before. It was. Why try to live a life that isn't real? No how. A mind that wants to wander round a corner is an unwise mind. Now is here now, and it's not what it was before. Remember now. Be here now, and it's not like it was before. It was.
Let's just take in a deep breath together. I just invite you to focus your attention on your forebrain, center of your forehead. And let's take in a deep breath and just imagine, if you will, breathing into that forebrain. And in that imagination, also, I invite you to imagine that forebrain enriched in the gold light, shimmering, opening, expanding outward. Remembering and allowing the physical seat of spiritual understanding. I inhale and exhale intentionally, drawing breath into this area of my brain, which is responsible for logic, mental association, planning and impulse, control. I shine the light of understanding throughout my frontal lobes, cleansing my brain, clearing foggy thinking and misunderstanding. I stand boldly in my divinity. I stand boldly in my divine nature. I am fearlessly self-reflective and self-corrective. I valiantly champion the goodness within myself and with each person I encounter. And I allow the understanding that each person is going through their own journey, their own awakening in their own time. And I allow them the freedom to experience. I continue to shine the light upon myself, and knowing that as I enrich my own spiritual understanding, I show up lighter. My light shines on others, and I enrich them as they enrich me. And let's just take that into the silence. As we come back to the present room, I claim my divinity. I stand boldly in my divine nature. I allow the understanding to envelop and enrich me in insight, realization, and awareness. And so it is. Now we will take this time for our blessings of tithes and offerings. And because we are on Zoom, I remind you that we can give, text give from your cell phone, 833-702-4377. You can Venmo. You can go on to Unity website and press the donate button. You can send in a check or a credit card number. And I hope I've covered them all. So let's just hold the tithe that we are offering or have already offered in our mind. And you can say it with me together. Divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, all that I receive. And so it is.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I am. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I
Sherry, you look so angelic holding that puppy. I just love it. And he just stays right there.
The canine of God.
And I think Annabelle has some announcements for us. Hi, Annabelle.
Let's see. Okay, here we go. I was just seeing if I could see myself. My
Oh, you just went
microphone is
muted.
terrible.
There you go.
But so for July 11th, this next Sunday, the synagogue only kind of called us about reserving to the 4th. So we'll be back in person. And our service will be with Cindy Swall, and then some upcoming events. We have made some committees, and these committees will help in the rebuilding process of UOTR, and we are looking for active members of Unity on the River to join them. And the committees are dedicated to mission and vision. So this is for formulating the mission and vision of Unity on the River to embody what our congregation believes it should be now. And then the new property committee, so that's finding a new permanent property for Unity on the River. The minister search committee, so searching for a new permanent minister. The BOT nominating committee for nominating and vetting new board members, and the bylaw committee. And that is going over the bylaws, and that's with Stan. Our other committees, we don't have chairs people for yet, but if you are interested in joining one of them, you can email the board at board15@unityontheriver.org to see if you can join. And we also have some events coming up. So these aren't events by Unity on the River, but they are by other Unity organizations like Unity Eastern Region. One of them is Youth and Family Ministry Webinar, Reach and Relate. And that's July 14th from 6:45 p.m. to 7:45 p.m. And this virtual webinar is all about how to ensure space in our younger generation's lives and in the ministry's future. And oh yes, I think I'll need Sherry for this one. So I'm just gonna unmute you there.
I told them about community house.
There we go. Yeah. So Sherry told me that some of our own musicians are going to be performing in various locations for the first time, or for the first time since the pandemic or doing COVID. And tell us where they're performing, Sherry.
Well, on the
Are you performing, Sherry?
I'm not performing. Brian, would you like to talk about the community house on Sunday and then your performance up at Club Sandwich?
On Sunday? Oh, you mean Mondays?
Yeah.
So well, it's just well known to most people, but if you don't know, especially if you're online, I do children's music during the week, and non-pandemically, I was playing just about every day at a preschool or a community center somewhere in the Boston area. So I've now gone back to in-person on Mondays and Thursday mornings at 10 a.m. over at the Hamilton Wenham Community House, which is right in downtown Hamilton, right next to the park with the tank in it. And I don't mean the water tank. I mean a tank in
Where
the middle of the
Steve will
park.
be performing.
Yeah, and we also have the Ken Clark Organ Trio on Sunday afternoons. It's called Sundays in Patton Park, the same park that I just mentioned. Next Sunday, the 11th, Ken Clark Organ Trio will be the feature there in an outdoor concert. So we're hoping for good weather. That starts at 5 and it's free. Anyone can just drive down and see. If you haven't seen Kenny in a long time, he was the former music director. He was the music director prior to Mora. And he was here for a long time with us. And Steve, of course, is our current drummer. He's the drummer, and wonderful guitarist named Mike Mealy. And last but not least, on July 15th, so a week from this coming Thursday, I'll be at a new club opened up by John Davidson. And if you don't know who John Davidson is, you're probably under 45 years old. But if you're over 45, you should. He was the host of That's Incredible and Hollywood Squares after Peter Marshall stopped doing it. And he was on probably a dozen Love Boat appearances. He had the perfect feathered hair, and he still does. He retired to New Hampshire, and he opened up a club in Sandwich, New Hampshire. So it's called Club Sandwich. Clever, right? And a renovated barn, and it's a listening room, so you can bring your own beverages and your own food, but it's really kind of like a Boston area folk club where it's really more about the listening. And I'll be performing there July 15th from 7 to 9. So I know it's a hike for some people, but I would love to have any presence that I could possibly get up there, since I do a lot of children's music, but not necessarily a lot of adult music. So
Carpool.
thank you for making sure we mentioned it,
You're welcome.
Sherry.
Road trip.
Carpool. Yeah, road trip.
Trip to Sandwich.
Carpool to support
And
our local musicians.
It's not a bar, so it'll be done by like 9. You'll be out of there by 9. You can still get home, plenty of time. So thank you.
Brian.
And then
Thanks.
one more time, to donate to Unity on the River, you can text GIVE to 833-702-4337, or you can donate with Venmo. And then I will pass it back over to Brian, Keith, and Sherry.
All right, here we go. Let's see. Now it's time to highlight Sherry a little bit. You all should know this. If you don't, it's pretty easy to follow along with.
So strong, so strong, singing with the voice of God. So strong, singing with the voice of God. Let me tell you about the love I feel, singing with the voice of God. Let me tell you about a love so real, singing with the voice of God. So strong, singing with the voice of God. So strong, singing with the voice of God. Let me tell you about the hope I feel, singing with the voice of God. Let me tell you about a hope so real, singing with the voice of God. So strong, singing with the voice of God. So strong, singing with the voice of God. Hallelujah, hallelujah,
Awesome. Thank you, Sherry, Brian, and Keith. Now, closing our prayer of protection. So you can say it with me, but we probably won't broadcast you.
Oh, we should probably let there be peace on earth first, Tom.
Okay, good idea.
And then it is fun. We do prayer protection and it ends up being such a beautiful train wreck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Take it away, Tom.
The light of God
Surround us.
surrounds us.
We are the light of God.
The love of God enfolds us.
We are the love of God.
The power of God protects us.
We are the power of God.
And the presence of God watches over us.
We are the presence of God.
Wherever
we are,
God
is,
and
all is well.
And
We are richly blessed. Woo!
Are we doing hospitality Zoom today?
Yes, we are.
Yes, we'll start that up in just a minute. I'm gonna put the logo up here so everyone can say goodbye to the stream.
Okay.
And then we'll shut down and start up hospitality. Okay, here we go. Everyone say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye. See you at the coffee machine.